Happy Monday to you. Thank you for joining us. We're still in the temple courtyard with Jesus and the Jewish leadership, and we're still on the same parable where he talked about the wedding feast and people were invited, and some were just, no big deal to it, didn't care much for it, and then others were actually violent about it. But he's not done yet. He speaks about later on now those people that killed his servants would be put to death and the city would be destroyed. But we're still at the wedding that he's talking about. And it says the king came to look over the dinner guests. A lot of Gentiles there now. And he saw a man there that was not dressed in wedding clothes. Apparently, the king would give a special festive wedding garment to everybody who came. And here's a guy that came in his own clothes, figured that was good enough. And he said, "Friend, how did you get in here without wedding clothes?" And the man was speechless. And the king said to the servants, "Tie his hands and feet and throw him out into outer darkness. There'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth in that place." Then he said, "Many are called, but few are chosen." In other words, the offer of salvation goes out to multitudes. Whosoever will, let him come. Take of the water of everlasting life without cost. But only a few come in the way that God has designed. You don't come to God on your own terms. And that's what is a picture of with this guy. I've been invited to the wedding feast, and I'll just come the way that I want to. I'll just approach God the way that I want to. You ever heard people say there are many paths to God? No, there's not. 1 Timothy 2:5 says there's one God and one mediator between God and man, and that's the man Jesus. John 14:6, Jesus said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but by me." And so the wedding garment was faith in Jesus Christ. Nothing else. Only one way. Now, if you were God and you sent your son to be crucified for the sins of the world so that people could come to you, would you let them come another way? If you paid that kind of a price? No, of course you wouldn't. Interesting thing in Galatians chapter 3:27, when you're talking about the wedding garment, he was speaking to Christians, immature Christians, the Galatian Christians, but he said, "All of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Jesus Christ." Yeah. In the first century, people used to be baptized naked. Men with men and women with women. But you would come up to the baptismal waters in dirty garments. And then you would take those dirty garments off and you would go down into the water and you would be baptized. Then you'd come out on the other side and you would put on a pure white garment. That's God's way of saying, I take your filthiness, your sin off of you. I put you to death and bury you. And then I clothe you with the righteousness of my Son. Justified by faith in Jesus Christ. Now, for obvious reasons, they quit. Because it was pretty hard to baptize and not have an audience. But that was such a beautiful picture of what really takes place. The old you is put to death and buried, and a new you is born again with the righteousness of Jesus put on your account. You've clothed yourselves with Jesus Christ. And that's the only way. God bless you. All done.